Right, hello and welcome to UK Versus. Now streaming both on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. It's been a long time overdue that I actually put some effort into doing this. So get into the world's meta yet again because we did this once before and it seems like UVS has listened to what players have been talking about, what discussions have been having, and a premature ban list was revealed that don't isn't in effect yet, so we don't have to worry too much about it. But Equipment Heist was cast into the pit where it should have never come out of, and my beloved Unyielding was dragged down with it. Now, last time we had Nick and Blame Siren on. This time, Nick unfortunately was a little bit too busy, so Cam has come back on to take his place with the same level of bad takes, and Blame Siren has come back to equalise those with some amazing takes. I hear you guys have been having some fun in the snow.
Not how I would put it, but sure.
My cat did not enjoy it, so.
Oh, poor kitty.
I mean,
yeah, my cat wanted to go outside till I opened the door, and she was like, "On second thought, I'm good."
Speaking of second thoughts, I could have said, Cam has spent all day shoveling snow. Now it's time to shovel some opinions. I messed up.
Yeah, well, I did almost kill myself shoveling snow, so we desert folk were not made for this. No. There are plenty of other ways I'd be willing to go out. Shoveling snow is not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, the cold weather is absolutely horrible. I mean, I think everyone here can agree, just fuck ice.
Agreed. Snow as well, agreed. But, all of a sudden.
But, anyway, let's get back onto the topic. So last time, we didn't really speak about the meta. We more talked about having fun, making world your first... making world your experience and building better. Now, Equipment Heist is gone. You don't need to build the solutions for it. And Unyielding is gone, which means you get to build as much as you want because deadlock isn't real. It can't hurt us. So, before we get into anything else, let's talk about the bans. Are you happy with the bans, or do you think that more could have got hit? Is it a surprise that they got hit a bit early? Blame Siren has disappeared for me. So we'll start with you, Cam.
I was going to let Blame Siren go first.
Well, you're going to go first because
okay.
Oh, there you go. You can go first then if you're here.
I mean, I am not upset at the ban list necessarily. It's more of like I didn't think that it needed to happen. Still, I'm still in the camp of both deck formats and like deck designs were perfectly fine. People just needed to learn how to play against them and figure out a solution to them. Like I said last time, people just gotta actually play answers instead of just what their deck wants to do.
I kind of agree with that. I do also agree that, Equipment Heist can create a lot of negative play, but Unyielding, I think, works as like a wall breaker for some of these big like Deku or Rodan build to 1,000 decks that can just choke you out just by sitting there. So I am kind of sad to see that one go. But then after playing Bui at my locals, I kind of get it. So when I can knock you down to 3 foundations and still throw like 40 damage at you in one turn, I think Unyielding maybe should have been taken off the board a little bit.
I think Unyielding has a place in the current meta. Like you said, Rodan, Deku, they like to build up their walls. But as was pointed out to me
I think if Unyielding was a deadlock blitz, it'd be better.
But as some players have pointed out to me, Unyielding also created these play experience, like you said, where Bui can do some very silly things, where Mark Tyner just gets to blow up your board and go, good luck playing your first attack, or where characters like Hanj and Mimic get to pop off because they don't need as many foundations, so they get to go, cool, you're playing with less while I get to maintain because all my backups get to contribute to my checks. Makes a lot of sense. Equipment Heist, for me, suffered the Twisting Azure Inferno problem. Equipment Heist was fine, but what it could synergize with was the problem. And it limits the design space in the future for assets, so I think it did need to go, or the assets just needed to be worse.
Do we think that giving Massive Mutant Machine Unique might have helped to keep Equipment Heist around?
With the new unique rule, for me, I'd say probably, but again, if they print more assets like Massive Meat Machine or other ones that give damage, that it just essentially creates build more, because with a lot of builds you could just run a one Massive Meat Machine and then one of other ones that do something similar. But what do you think, Blind Siren?
Yeah, I mean, I am of the opinion that Heist was a card that needed to get hit, but not because it was overwhelming, but because it limited the design space. As anybody who's ever played against me knows, I hate limiting design because I think that's where some of the coolest ideas have been born, a la Twisting Azure Inferno before it got absolutely broken. Or even in retro with things like Taisei, right?
Oh,
Being able
Jiro
to
from set
craft a
one.
unique design space. Hold on now, I didn't say all that. But even when...
But you're going to slander my man Taisei. I get it.
No,
Okay.
no, I think Taisei's cool. Jiro from set one is like, it borders on the line of being really cool. But anyway, I think that like having an open design space is important because it just lets us have more unique effects, and that's what our card game has always been, is the very unique kind of gameplay. Like you never see a thing like Taisei in another game, in my opinion.
I can see that.
And for those of us who are
You
not
say that
adept
until
in
my
Metro, for those of
Taisei
you,
goes for an hour without losing a character.
and for those of you who are not that
I'm
adept
okay
in
with
Metro,
this.
what does Taisei do?
He's an
So
8-hand size 2 health character that if he
Oh,
dies,
wow.
he brings in his second character, who's then a 5-hand size 8 health character. But each time you would die, you can remove one of your characters instead.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I had a game last an hour before I lost my first character at 2 health. So
You see,
Reps.
I played into one of those when I was playing Mina 1, and I blew up both characters in 2 turns because Mina 1 4 check Titan attacks is dumb. And it needs a lot of setup to stop. Colossus
Sure.
Titan attacks does not care how little your health is. It's a throw that I'm throwing down turn 1.
possibly, yeah.
So, now that we've established that Unyielding was creating a negative play experience and was allowing some characters like Hange and Mark Tyler to become broken, and Equipment Heist was just limiting design space and pulling silly things, what are the meta threats? Up on screen we have Mikasa, Hizu Hope, and Izuku Midori on the move, which to me I think are going to be probably the biggest played characters at Worlds. But are there any, do you agree that with me that these guys are just a lot stronger now? And are there any other characters you guys have identified that might become that might be borderline issues?
I'll let you go first, Siren.
Okay. I think that those are both correct. I don't think Deku is as insanely powerful as a lot of people think he is. I think a lot of people forget if you can just hit Deku with as much as you can on turn 2, and he's not cracking back on turn 3, so it's fine. But I would probably put Rodon up there, and then obviously I'm biased, but I think Bridget is in a really good spot because of the thruster visions and because of the new Team Hero asset. It solves your damage issue, you free build in your best stuff, and you can draw more cards. I think any myriad of like aggro combo deck versus aggro straightforward linear deck makes it in, because I think linear decks are at a challenge right now versus combo decks that have a lot of moving pieces and can kind of successfully play around stuff.
And yourself, Cam?
I agree with that. Well, Rodan was definitely going to be one that I was going to put up there because that kind of just speed control style play is really strong, and now you don't have to worry about Unyielding blowing you up all over the place. I would expect to see Mark Tyner because as someone who played in the old retro days when there was a lot of check hacking that could end your turn, having that on your character is dumb. It is very bad. And I've actually seen a deck where Mark Tyner doesn't need Unyielding to set you to 0 foundations and still hack all of your checks. So it's scary. Yeah, it's scary, and I think that he's definitely someone that people are going to have to watch out for.
That makes sense. We've got Daniel in the Twitch chat saying that Sun Jin Woo Shadow Monarch, now the game is essentially slowed down a little bit. I could see a world where Sun Jin Woo can get there, but I also know Mikasa can just rinse through a Sun Jin Woo if they draw hot. But high rolls win games. They don't often win tournaments.
Yeah, that's kind of why I focused on Rodan, because the whole, offense wins games, defense wins championships. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hanji 1 with more like Titan, Titan Pile and Falling Titan, because you have defense with Hitch, and it is Hitch, right? Not Hinge.
Hitch, yeah.
Hitch. Yeah. But you've got that. You've got just some other really cool play patterns you can do. So I wouldn't be too shocked to see a Hanji 1 in, like, if we had like a top 16 cut, and to see Hanji 1 up there.
We've got...
what about you, Brett?
Well, we've got Gamer Drew, aka Andrew, in chat talking about Dabi. I didn't really consider Dabi 3 that much more playable. Especially seeing as Otomo Shigaraki 3 is still in Standard, who has kind of flown on there. This new longer format might benefit them a little bit longer. But we've also got an influx of cards from King of Fighters. Do we think Benimaru, Dolores, are they going to impact? Or is it more the cards in there, like you said, with Bridget and the hit and the hero asset making more of an impact?
I could definitely see Hydern, like an aggro, like running fours, Hydern doing some work. I have a build for Dolores that I really, really enjoy, but it takes a little bit to set up, so she might not last long in like a hyper aggressive meta. And on the other side, maybe Benimaru, if you're running like some crazy turbocharge, I'm just going to throw one big powerful like a ultimate combination and just reset my whole board and watch you struggle.
And yourself, William Simon?
Oh, I mean, obviously I still think Isla does the thing very well. Megalomania is a broken card, and being able to get both lines of text and comfortably main board 4 is enough to make a winning deck, in my opinion. It was what I was going to be taking, but other than that, like Benimaru, there's a world where a Shunoi makes it into top cut, and it's just somebody who's like, I decided I want to relive Staff Strike Jiro days and shove foundations in my card pool, and you know what? Good on them for figuring that out.
That makes sense.
I can see that.
Do you think that
all of the thrust revisions are tenacious, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Huh.
Since we've identified that unyielding has been flagged as an issue, do you think there's a world where Decay Awaken now sees more play, which is an action that can just go blow up your board?
Remember what I was talking about, that Mark Tyner build?
Yeah, I mean, if you have the Death Attune symbol, or it's Death Evil Order or something.
Death Evil Void.
Okay, Decay.
It's a girl power card, so it's not like aligned to any of the characters.
It's like 2 of 3 Shigaraki symbols.
It's just Decay Awakened, not Decayed Awakened. It's Death Evil Void.
Okay, so Death Evil or Void. I mean, I'm gonna reiterate what I said earlier in Let's Talk UVS's Discord. Real gamers will play it 4 of in the main to deal with the Rodons of the world.
No, it makes no sense. I could also see the re-rise of the Reiner 1 Foundation control decks. Like, Nathan James was running and stuff like that last early in the year. They coming a bit down in this year where now we've got more Foundation Destruction support and more ways to synergize with it. I know there's a couple of people in the UK that are looking at just basically board control decks. I could see Rhino One definitely pulling up a little bit more with the flipping Foundation Destruction package.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of whispers about Jacob Johnson being played around too, because he can loop cards like Airy Smiles or Referee Jury, especially on like the water and good symbols where you can block, build it down, flip High Spirit Awareness, pick it up, block with it again. You're just kind of having to find your damage.
Yeah, I mean, the Trading Post put up a brilliant video of Devil Jin versus JJ, and it showcased the terrifying nature of JJ's character, being able to go toe to toe with full power Devil Jin. And now, in my opinion, Equipment Heist has been a huge hit to Devil Jin. I don't know if he's still going to have that same explosive power coming into Worlds.
I actually think DJ is better now because you're not going to run a stack of 10 bricks in your deck. So you'll have you have a more consistent game plan, and you're not required. Like, I built Devil Jin after the ban list, and I confidently feel that being able to play Walk the Dog and draw bajillion cards solves the 5-hander issue. You're still doing the same old. I don't think Devil Jin ever got better with Equipment Heist. He just got more explosive, like you said. I think the real hit to Devil Jin was just the your turn on the enhance, and it made Goblin Bolt a worth. Like, I think Goblin Bolt's not a 4 in him, but I have hot takes most of the time. So
that's a very good point, and as long as you've got your cameo counters popping off, you're kind of fine.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Are there any other characters you were
Evil Chaos Fire, right?
Yes, Evil Chaos Fire.
Yeah.
Are there any characters you think people were considering for Worlds that are no longer really playable with their bans?
I think Mimic took a hit.
Ooh.
Because you're not able to just snatch up Unyielding anymore to try to control your rival's board. And he doesn't have Titan Cliff anymore to cycle his draws as well. So I think Mimic took a bit of a hit. I would not be shocked if a Mimic made like top 32, but I think he's going to struggle a little bit more with finding what he wants to do. Because he also could run Equipment Heist. And now cannot. So he seems to be taking it from all sides.
How about yourself, Blimson?
I don't think there's anyone who outright can't be played anymore, if that makes sense. But I do think people won't play things like Devil Jin because our community has a bad thing of, oh, well, something got touched, I'm not going to play character anymore. And something as crazy as Equipment Heist for Devil Jin that made him so explosive is on the borderline of a character eroded, in my opinion.
Yeah, our game really does have this character lost 1 card, so now they're unplayable. Like, if you've noticed, a lot of Godzilla has fallen off. But I've got people in my locals who are still like diehard Godzilla, like, nah, this character's still cracked. And if you draw City Rampage and 4 attacks on turn 2, you kind of still just kill people.
Yeah, I've never once thought that a ban was taking a character from like playable to not playable. It's just utterly broken to playable or to calm people down in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
unless the character themselves were banned, there's nothing that takes a character from playable to unplayable.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of times when characters have been touched and people gone, okay, they're just no longer playable. Kirishima 2 got hit, and people were just like, oh yeah, he's no longer playable. And then people still went on to top with him. Devil Jin got touched, and people
he still kept me out of top 16 in nationals.
Devil Jin got hit, and then immediately went on to still be quite playable, not as strong as he was, but is more on there. Elder Toguro, younger to go took a hit and then went on to top down in Australia. So yeah, the community just seem to have this. Oh, it's not at full power anymore. I'm going to go find the next broken thing rather than going. This character is now more fairly statted. I think UVS have got a lot better at balancing their characters. I just wish it was before they released them.
Well, I think that's also one of the reasons, or one of the things that you have when you have multiple design teams and not everyone's working all on the same thing at once, so you don't get a lot of that coalesced information. And sometimes things slip through the cracks easier that way.
Yeah, it's a conversation I've had with a few people, and it's just one of those things of the players will stress test your cards better than the company ever could. Sometimes we find issues.
I have made several overtures to the company that let me stress test your cards. Give me an NDA and 5 cards to break, and I'll give you a report by the end of the week.
We got a comment on YouTube from this side going, if Godzilla draws the nuts, he can kill you turn 2. But yeah, that's why they hit Titan Cliff. It was the consistency of what these characters could do. If you want to be really brave, Deus Ex Machina is playable in Godzilla and gives you the best partial mulligan. It just comes with that cheeky
It also
check.
checks it too.
Does Godzilla
but
care
people
about
are too scared to put 2 checks.
I play 1 checks. I'm a full psychopath.
I would play a 0 check if they gave it to me.
I'm still waiting for the day they print a 0 check attack, and I'm hoping it's in the same set they print a 7 check foundation.
I mean,
that would be amazing.
With Mark Tyner floating about with that ending your turn, I wouldn't be comfortable playing a 2 or 1 at this point. Because you could legitimately
but
check
then
it.
At that point, they'll just errata him to not end your turn.
I still fully believe that's happening.
Bitch.
If it was going to happen, they'd have done it by now. We've had people on before talking about the fact they don't like characters winning characters, but Mark Tyner is in a position where he can go into Worlds and could possibly walk away with a win. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
If
very possible.
If you run into Travis Tangerman and he's got 6 foundations and he goes, City Rampage, check a 3. Nope, you checked a 1. Do you want your turn to end or do you want to commit 60% of your board? It's like, cool.
Yeah, it's really strong. And for a player like Mark Tyner, it absolutely makes a lot of sense. That man was the Thanos of universes pre-pandemic.
Oh yeah, when I've been talking to people about my new Mark Tyner deck, and people just go, "I'm not a fan." It's like, do you mean of the card of the person? I need to clarify. Apparently,
now Mark Tyner's a good dude, but his character card is a monster.
He's been very chill when I've been talking to him. He approved me putting his actual image in my profile picture for my thumbnail for the deck profile, which is really cool. But yeah, it's a weird one because we started off with Nick Reagan terrorizing us at the beginning of the year as an overpowered champ card, and now we have JJ and Mark Tyner. A bit of cheeky Garrett Brett can do some stuff. Ashley has a lot of untapped potential thanks to tension and momentum and all this momentum use that we now have. Mitchell Semino still has a lot of stuff to do there. Yeah, we've got the fact that Mitchell can do some silly drive things. The champ cards are well statted to go into Worlds.
Yeah.
I'm being told that they don't like champs winning champs was a Jasco thing, not a UVS as general things. There's been quite a bit of turnover.
Yeah, it was definitely something that Jason, who owned Jasco Games, really kind of focused on. He was like, we don't want Garrett Brett 1 winning Garrett Brett 2 winning Garrett Brett 3. Because let's be honest, there's enough Garrett Brett running around.
No, they need more.
But you do have Tim Keefe and Kevin Broberg also creeping up there. But speaking of Broberg, I had a question to pose to you guys.
No?
So talking about the meta and all the changes that have been made, I'm pretty sure starting with MHA 1, every World Championship has been won by a character that other people didn't see coming. Either it was Broberg with Midnight, or Nick Reagan with Endeavor 3, or Broberg with Hanji 2. If you could pick a long shot that if you think if someone put a lot of work into it, what do you think could win Worlds?
So,
Like, what would be your dark horse pick?
before Blame Simon jumps in, I'm going to address the first part of the question. I don't think Midnight and Endeavor were long shots or dark horses. I was running Midnight in the sideboard for my Dabi deck because of how she was able to handle Jiro and Tokiyami and Eraser. So that made perfect sense. The deck list, however, that Kevin and Pippa and everyone came up with was, at the time when I was looking at it, a complete... It was like a high schooler trying to understand rocket science. I was looking at this deck list going, none of this makes any sense to me, and Kevin was dominating with it. So the character to me made sense. And then when you could look at Nick Reagan, more for me was the fact that he essentially went, 11 and 0? 12 and 0, something like that. He didn't drop a single.
Yeah, he was the chosen one of that weekend.
He was on an absolute rampage. Endeavor was not a long shot. The kick package and like the way he was doing it was not a long shot. It was more, nobody put the same time and dedication into playing it. A lot of people wanted to just utilize the new shiny stuff. A lot of people were still hyped up on Void, and a few people were still treating it like a meme. We had some very cool Jiro 2 decks that were trying to get the applause counts off. We had the 150 Shoto 1 list going in there. And we still have the amazing, I think it was Phil Birchmont of letting their opponent side, of letting Carson side and shuffle this 150 card deck and then immediately conceding, so their opponent had to decide. It was really cool. But yeah, Endeavor was not a long shot. The order build was definitely not a long shot. It was just more people underestimated it. I knew Endeavor was a threat, but I thought I could handle Endeavor with Midnight. I just didn't run into anything that I could. Daniel's in there saying that he did not drop an entire game that weekend. So at one point, I believe he was so far ahead of everybody else, he was in side events while other people were still playing because there was nobody in his bracket. In terms of
That's hilarious.
In terms of long shot characters that I think could make an impact at Worlds that people may or be underestimating, Kai Kisuke. If someone has been able to put the hours in on Kai Kisuke and is able to freeze out your board, is able to get the control aspects in there, they can kind of pull off a pseudo unyielding, but utilize that to their advantage with what you've got committed, because they can essentially push you into misplaying and taxing your mental load. And I still think there's a decent Void punch package out there that someone can utilize, because true 100% smash is still a thing, and we have so much free momentum floating around. I could see a rejuvenating 100% smash Void character coming out of the works, and although Megalomania doesn't synergize with it, it's still a powerful card. Void is in a very good place to control the board until it gets to the point where it's just going to kill you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like the Void punch character is definitely Ryu. Like that's who immediately comes to my mind. But I guess Dark Horse for me is still just Bridget. I think people underestimate how good she is at just good universes. And as much of a shill as that makes me sound, because that's who I'm playing, like she just can play good universes, and I think people are too hooked on the like, well, I'll loop and debuild you a bajillion cards, or all the extra stuff, instead of just saying, okay, well, here's a character that says +2 speed, -2 to my progressive for a turn. She has the water symbol, she has the air symbol, she can play a bunch of all the really good stuff. Let's just do that. And again, she takes great advantage of the new Thruster Vision cards with their borderline broke. I mean, -5 speed, in my opinion, is pretty good for one foundation as a Tenacious. So I don't know. That's still my dark horse, even though that sounds really strange considering that's who I'm playing. And people will say I'm biased, but
Shoot your shot. Be Babe Ruth. Call your shot.
on the opposite side, that's similar to Midnight and Endeavor. I was talking. I don't consider Bridget a dark horse. Like you said, Bridget, as I like to put it, plays good, consistent universes. Has a powerful offensive ability that makes her hard to deal with. Has a very strong defensive ability that rewards you for blocking and making your next blocks easier to do. And then also rewards you for doing damage, clearing your progressive difficulty, making it easier for you to carry on stringing, whether you're looping or not. Being able to go City Rampage, play your first attack, flip it for 2 speed, stuff it into your momentum, and go, cool, I'm 1 progressive down and 2 to my check for the turn, is just a very good ability. She just gets to play strong, consistent universes, and characters like that I absolutely love. The loop is a cool add-on, like you said, but the D build, the what her symbols do are absolutely solid. So I love Bridget, but she wasn't one of mine considered because I don't see her as a dark horse. I see her as meta adjacent.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, I, however, have 2 absolute dark horses for your consideration. First of which, Suzuki. The Yu Yu Hakusho clown.
Yeah.
You groan at me, but that dude can draw his entire deck in 1 turn.
I just need to correct 2 things there. 1, not a Yu Yu Hakusho clown. And 2, on this stream we address them by their proper title, The Beautiful Suzuki.
I don't respect this man. So, the Yu Yu Hakusho clown can draw his entire deck in like 1 to 2 turns with all of the chaos form draw that we have with like Horrifying Realization. We have draw from his own cards, Fearsome Transformation, and between that, Earthbreaker, Deus Ex Machina, and Suzuki Flurry, you just have almost infinite unblockable damage if your rival can't stop you from using Suzuki Flurry's Enhance to spend a momentum, which you can get with Finally Free, Tension attacks, and just say, hey, you have to discard a card to block this, and it's coming in for, I've drawn 15 cards, it's coming in for 20 as my 3rd attack. That can be really deadly. Because a lot of that form speed draw, there's not a lot that a player can do to stop it. And the fact that he's just looking for 2 or 3 specific cards to start and end the combo is really strong.
The main issue there is maybe that works game 1, but game 2, your opponent knows what you're setting up. And you're either going to get Roman cancelled, where you just go, cool, that 20 odd damage is free. You could get heat tackled, where you just go, you don't get to draw the card and get the setup going. And as I said, when it came to like Mikasa and stuff like that, it's kind of like a magical Christmas land setup. You need so much to set it up, and you need to play perfectly the entire time. I'd be worried about my mental load going into Worlds. If I'm walking into day 2 with, say, at maximum capacity, 72 of the world's best players, I don't want to take a Swiss watch deck that a grain of sand is going to make it fall apart. I think it's what you described as a cool deck, but I think it's also a high roll magical Christmas land deck. I wouldn't really want to take to Worlds, and I definitely wouldn't want to take to day 1 of Worlds when I've got to get that top 16 spot out of 100 plus people.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm on the opposite
Go ahead,
end,
Siren.
I guess. Like, I'm thinking like day 1, play something crazy like a dark horse, sweep out day 1, and then you just swap decks day 2 to something super consistent and super solid.
Now the question is, are they going to let you change decks? Because when it came to like the last chance qualifier, they still had to play the same deck, and because this is day 1 of Worlds, they may require you to carry on playing the same deck. Because it's not day 1, it's not last chance qualifier, it's not a separate tournament, it's the first day of Worlds. So you may be required to run the same deck all the way through.
I have gotten so many different answers on that I want to know too, because like there's a good shot I decide to go Bridget Rampage through day 1 and then play Isla Void Control and just sweep day 2 that way. But
if you have to keep the same deck, yeah. Because I know at the first Worlds, we were allowed to change decks. And we did the Swiss day 1, then we came into day 2, and a lot of people shifted over. And then at the second Worlds, it was the same deck all the way through. At last year's Worlds, same deck all the way through. So it's definitely a weird one, and it's not something they've been very clear on. So I'm going off the usual line we get off UVS. If we don't announce anything, assume it's the same as before, where it's going to be the same deck all the way through. Which
I could definitely see that.
It'll definitely change a lot of people's opinions. We've got Extreme Stewie in the chat saying that Shishi Wakamaru is a decent character to pick up. We have got a lot more weapons in here now. I think that could be really cool.
And he can play Massive Mutant Machine without having to check.
Very true.
Tyrant Rave.
Tyrant Rave?
Yep, Tyrant Rave.
Dropping a Tyrant Rave at the end of a long stream without having to pay a check. Speaking of dark horses, or what some people consider meta adjacent, with all the new spells, Caleb, Essek, and especially Jester have got a lot stronger. And I think Jester 1 is in a very good spot.
Yep. I've got a friend of mine who has sent me a Jester deck to play around with, mainly because I stole his other Jester deck and modified it to be a little bit more aggressive. And so when he brought up this new one, he's like, hey, here's a Jester deck with 12 attacks. I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, I can throw 9 attacks in a turn. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Okay, sure. Sure, buddy. Whatever you want to do. But Jester is a crazy dark horse pick that I think could absolutely murder people.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I was speaking with Nick throughout the week, and he was telling me he's built like Mark Tyner on evil. A lot of people going evil, and I'm like, I went all. And he went, why'd you go all? I went, because the Sun Jin Woo Shadow Monarch attacks become unique backups, which I can then commit to reduce your check, which means I don't have to rely on my foundations as much, which means I can have foundations that do stuff. And he's like, I hadn't considered that. I was like, yeah, all is very good. It has some cool, unique stuff. But when all my attacks become unique backups, I get to do some silly things.
Yep, or you could just run 4-check Mark Tyner with Titan attacks.
Yeah, but then...
Also true. Ow.
That's very expensive. Like, cost-wise.
True. I mean, if money is no object...
No, not money-wise, resource-wise.
Like
like, with Mark, I want to kind of string and put pressure on my opponent, but if...
you play a female Titan attacks, commit your backup for +2 to your check, and then ready your backup and draw a card with female Titan attacks.
Colossal Confrontation is probably the biggest one I'd play because you get to build one face down and go just tutor a card from your deck.
Oh, yeah. And then you also get crazy ones like... what's the long neck lady from Turtles?
Cynthia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a unique backup on evil that can also rip cards out of your hand. And backups don't get destroyed by Decayed Awakened.
But I think you have brought up a very good point, Cam, that there's been established metas. People were expecting One Punch Deku and Godzilla to dominate last year, and they didn't. People expecting Tokiyami and Eraserhead to do the first year. People expecting Overhaul. And I mean, Young Choi did a great job getting to second place from in 2023. He took me down on his way up there. Very absolutely amazing player. What a good. I've not spoken to him, but he's a very strong player. And people were expecting Overhaul and Abajiki and stuff like that, and then the Endeavor came in. So it does seem to be this trend of once you get into that room, once you get into that confined, concentrated space of the world's best players, it's the character. I won't really want to say pet deck, but it's kind of the off-meta counter picks that seem to do the work. The ones that are taking advantage of the gaps that the meta characters create. So, if we look at Izuku Midoriya, Mikasa, Rodan, Godzilla, trying to think of what else, Devil Jin and whatnot, what gaps do they create? When they're playing, the way they're constructing their decks, what are the gaps in their playstyle that can be exploited? Because that might help us track down what the true dark horses are.
Yeah. I could also see for Dark Horse picks, Amajiki that you just brought up is in a really good space with tension, since those all count as face-up momentum for him.
True.
And he is a very momentum-hungry character. And that's a lot of damage boost, a lot of damage reduction with his once per turn. He gets access to Guardian Angel of Chinatown to protect his damage. I think someone like that could be really sneaky if someone puts in the work. My other Dark Horse pick actually was Martial Law from Tekken, because he's got a really good pivot point game plan of committing your foundations for your rival's foundations for plus minus speed, committing your own for plus minus damage. Siren brought up the Thruster Vision, -5 speed, and Bridget. He can do the same thing with -5 damage with an Endeavor 3 foundation that commits for -2 and then removes for -2.
Oh yeah.
So with his own ability, that's -5 damage on one foundation.
Endurance,
and he gets to play one of my favorite kill cards in Spirit Sword Ultimate, which can stop Rodan from using its abilities. It stops One Punch Deku's flash ability. Any character that would rely on their ability to stop an attack from actually killing you, he can absolutely set that up and give it a whole bunch of extra damage between Spirit Sword Ultimate's effect and his own. And I think that's just a really cool character that can, with cards like Drunken Fighting Expert, kind of pivot you offensively and defensively to try to control the board without having to rely on the void symbol.
The more you talk about him, the more I'm like, yeah, he's got some stuff going on. Hold on.
Yeah. Spirit Sword Ultimate Law was one of the very first of my Hermit style decks where I only ran one attack, and it was just Spirit Sword Ultimate. I had 30 foundations. I'm like, let's see if I can OTK you in one shot. And now I'm thinking, okay, if we actually make it a real deck and actually play some offense and defense, he works with a lot of the brawler stuff. He gets Titanstone Knuckles. And I think he can use some of the good tension support to also further his offense and defensive plans.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, I guess, is there enough stun hate and like auto committal hate to prevent those kind of cards? I think elasticity is still in the set, but I don't know if anyone's running that anymore. You've got the zero cost surprising skill that I don't think, similar to like throw hate, I haven't really seen anyone running stun hate in their competitive decks.
That's because I think a lot of the target committal isn't used with stun anymore. You have cards like Kaikisuke that if your attack hits, you get to selectively commit or freeze a rival foundation. In my Martial Law deck, I use the Levi 2 foundation that says if it's committed for a cost, your rival commits a foundation. There's a lot of stun without being stun abilities out there that makes traditional stun hate that actually says the word stun a little bit more obsolete.
Yeah. Again, I'm biased. One of my locals is a Paul player. So I fear Heaven Piercing Ice Wall on the daily. I
do have a Paul player at my locals.
I mean, Paul Phoenix is a very dark horse, but the rising uppercut to commit to in your opponent's turn is solid. The synergy for punches and kicks, and the fact that you just get to stun them out. It's just, I mean, pressing the
and on the order symbol, he has repeated 100%.
True, but pressing
Oh
the
my God, don't
advantage.
show my local that.
Pressing the advantage is a cool card, but that 2 check will put people off. 1.3 million volts, it is not. Like, if that card was still around, Paul Phoenix would be a lot stronger.
Yeah, but that's why it's not. We have 1.3 million volts at home. It has a 2 check as it should have had originally.
Oh, that's a take.
Well, you told me that I was supposed to be here with bad takes. What do you want from me?
I agree with that take, to be honest. I think pressing the advantage is a fine card.
Absolutely.
People are just too scared of twos.
People just need to grow a pair and play 2 checks. Come on now. They're not that bad.
They are.
Just slam the 3 on turn 1.
They are with Mark Tyner around. That's the problem.
Well, then you play a little bit more restrained with Mark Tyner if you're sitting across from Mark Tyner. But if you're playing against a Godzilla, go at it, fam.
I mean, if I'm playing this new 5-check foundation, I'm not playing a 2-check card.
What new 5-check foundation?
Oh, Cam's not been keeping up with the reveals.
I don't remember every single reveal because they're not on Ultra yet.
You remember
so I
a
can't go back
5-check
on the daily.
foundation?
I have to go to
You remember a 5-diff foundation?
I would have to go back and remember every single video, and I've had a lot going on.
The Jet Jaguar one.
The Valiant Hero, yeah.
Right. Okay, I recall now. That was also like a much newer one, so it's not like ingrained in my psyche. I haven't gone back and watched that video 5 times to memorize the cards.
I saw 5-check.
Although I am mad that the bug kaiju, the one that looks like a rhinoceros beetle, isn't in the set. That makes me sad.
We're getting off track here. So,
Stop calling me out.
To focus on the question. So, do we think stun and board control through committal and freezing is a line that could be a weakness for Mikasa, Izuku Midoriya, Rodan?
I'll let Siren go first.
It 100% is, and again, I call off personal experience. Refreshing Slice destroyed the one Mikasa before I played against, because they just left their one whatever the flip to reset stat 3-diff is. They only left that up, and I went, okay, cool, ready, Refreshing Slice, tap your last one, and that's what lost them the game. Yeah. So nobody's playing Stun Hate, and if you can do it offensively, that's the big thing. Not so much the defensive, but definitely the offensive. And then, yeah, I mean, I think it's still good. Just not enough good cards with stun have it on it. If that makes sense. There's not enough good cards with stun right now.
Yeah. So is that where cards like Roar of the Spark, which gives stun on committal, might be a bit better?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't personally played any deck that can play that yet, but I can definitely see it making its way, especially post rotation, into multiple, it's order and error, so something like that. But it could definitely make its way into deck lists,
even especially
post rotation.
My main issue with the Kai Kisuke committal thing is if you get penned to a Rodan, the chance that you're not hitting to get the freeze or committal off.
True.
What I was just thinking is there a world where characters like Mei Hatsume can run evil check hacking to force the committal and then can just run big stun, big breaker kind of attacks going? Because we've still got barrier shield, we've still got these other things around. You just go, cool, I'm going to lose a health and increase the next keyword I play. And then I'm going to give my attack Breaker 2. So I'm going to play this natural Breaker 1, give it Breaker 2. I've lost health, so take a Breaker 4?
Yeah, and I think any deck that can run Barrier Shield is also going to be really strong. Looking at you, Mark Tyner.
Yep. But yeah, it just kind of came to my head, if we can put the pressure on our opponents offensively and defensively, like Siren said, to commit foundations, which characters like Mei Hatsumi can do by naturally increasing stun and breaker and powerful into these much bigger threats, it can essentially push our attacks further than they already impact wise than they already were.
Yeah, because you also for this world you still have Showdown.
Yep.
And Barrier Shield into Showdown definitely commits more than 4 foundations.
On Void, you still get Barrier Shield into Rejuvenating Smash, my favourite play.
Yep.
Yeah.
And guess what evil champion character can run both Barrier Shield and Showdown that likes to force your rival to commit foundations on defense?
Is it JJ?
Like I was saying, Mark Tyner's a problem.
Does Mark Tyner have Void?
We just keep circling back to Mark Tyner being an issue.
Oh no!
Yeah, he's an issue, and no, he's got evil.
Okay, I've got a whole video of like why Mark Tyner needs the errata. We'll come back to that another time. But yeah, Mark Tyner is a card that was designed for a different time.
Yep, because he won in a different time. He won. I don't think that the character he won with, I think he won with Cassandra for the Worlds. But the previous Worlds when I played him, he definitely played a character that on face said that your abilities could not be canceled. Because that's the kind of fairness we were running around with back then.
He can't be sealed, which means that he just gets to hurt you no matter what. And he's the only card I know of that at response speed ends your turn on a check. Everything else, like Moopsy, the Evil Plans, any of the ones that just got your opponent's next check gets minus X that would end a turn, is all done at a form or enhance or blitz speed. Let your opponent play around it. Everything like Blue Flame.
Technically Breaker ends your turn.
Yeah, but your opponent can still play around it. Because it's a response to the block. Blue Flame Torment, Fighting for Control, the response ones to the check all do not end your turn. The fact that Martin Tyner gets to, at response speed, say your turn is over, is a negative play experience. But to get back to what we're talking about here, Extreme Street says we're talking about Shinnok.
Yeah, Shinnok. That is exactly who Mark Tyner played. Because I remember playing Akuma 2 into Shinnok, and
that doesn't sound fun.
Man, was that a rough game. No, it was rough for both of us. I almost beat him because I made a suboptimal play on purpose.
So here's one for you. We got Daniel AKA saying, JJ originally being able to use combined firepower would have been a lot of fun.
No.
I agree. I love combined firepower, so I'll agree.
I'm still angry at combined firepower for getting a Zoro banned before I could play it one last time.
But I think one of the reasons I keep bringing up Mark Tyner is you were asking what blind spots some of the current meta threats had, like Midoriya, Rodan, or even more aggro ones like Mikasa, Devil Jin. I think Mark Tyner pairs up into a lot of those decks really well because he can force you to commit your board or end your turn.
Yeah.
And plays the game in a way that kind of fills a lot of those spots. So I think that if you're going to Worlds, you do need to practice the Mark Tyner matchup.
I get that. I mean, Devil Jin wants to check freeze, but doesn't want to check more than one of them. So if they check one early enough, you go, cool, respond. Do you want to commit your foundations down? Do you have enough resources to play through both of them? And it's like, do I really need to burn my once per turn now? It's like, yes, you do. And guess what? I get to do this again. And it's like, and like...
So I think he does slot into a lot of what those other decks either would struggle against or can't do. And it does create this, like, interlocked map of you need to practice these specific matchups, and now you have to worry about this new thing that you might not have had to worry about because of how other characters have been designed, that this is now the new threat on the block that you need to know going into Worlds.
No, yeah, that is a very good point. And like you were just saying, Mikasa likes to swing out on minimal foundations. It's a great counter in that aspect. Going, you
And
need
blow
to
up
clear
her
up,
own
and
foundations, which is dangerous.
you need to blow up your foundations, which means you're not going to kill me this turn because I'm going to make sure that with my twice per turn, and then you may not have the resources on my turn to stop me trickling you down. How do we think Mark Tyner does into the slower decks, the decks that go, you want to be here for a long time? I'm happy to be here for a long time. Rodan would happily just sit there and build until they could play for it. Izuku Midori would happily sit there and build. Hanj 1 just goes, oh no, I got -1 to my check. I get 2 speed. Yay!
You first, Siren.
So, I guess this is where like it becomes a player thing. I think the really good Mark Chiners will find a way to push the gas pedal and kill the Deku, kill the Hanji, kill the Rodon before it can get to that point. Because if you let the game go on that long, you're done. You're not gonna win it unless the Deku player forgets to save 2 foundations. But I don't have the faith the control Mark Tyner players will be able to get out of the control bubble and press that gas pedal fast enough. Does that make sense, like what I'm saying? Or am
No,
I
that
just,
definitely
like,
makes
speaking
sense
with, like,
because
okay.
there's definitely like you design your deck to be defensive and it's hard to get into that aggro mindset. You need to be like a pivot style deck where I'm playing an aggressive deck, I need to play more control. Or if I'm playing against a wall deck or a more control deck, I need to be able to really push the offense to threaten them so that they can't outbuild me.
Yeah, like I thought about building a Mark Tyner deck, which never ended up happening, but I was just gonna do like evil good cards and heavy aggro because +2 to my check on my turn. But just in case, I have -2 to my check on your or -2 to your check on your turn, right?
Yeah. I definitely built a Mark Tyner deck when he first came out off of Evil using like twisty surroundings, barrier shield, very defensive. But when my rivals thought, oh, I'll just build out to like 12, 15 foundations, I don't have to worry about it. That's when I hit him with Vile Seizing, because that's still a freaking card. And that deadlock definitely says all of your checks get -2 for the turn.
Yeah, people forget what
And then
love
you just
Vile Seizing.
push your aggro that way.
But yeah, no, I think it's just like a getting into that different mindset more than anything. Like, I don't know. Control players to me feel like they have the hardest time getting out of that. Well, I'll sit here and spend my whole hour compared to just saying, hey, I'll push the gas and whatever happens, happens. Rodon's probably not killing me on turn 2.
I paid,
Especially not if you're hacking their check twice in a turn.
I paid for my seat. I'm going to use all 1 hour of my seat. But I can see what you're saying there, Siren, with the... It's hard when you're playing a control character to weigh up when to push, because if you get too aggressive, if you overextend, you get clapped. If you sit there and let Izuku Midoriya and Rodan build up to capacity, now there's no one yielding, you get clapped. It's being conservative to know when the right time to push is and when the right time to stop is. And it's a very hard thing for players to do, especially new, less experienced players. It's something you have to spend a long time learning through reps and games and knowing the matchups. If you're playing Mark Tyner and you're worried about the Rodan matchup, in my personal opinion, I think I said this last time, you play Rodan into someone else you know playing Mark Tyner, so you can see where the stresses are as a Rodan player, when to push, so you feel it from the Rodan player's side as to when they feel vulnerable, when they are the most likely to be killed or damaged. So when you get back to Mark Tyner, you know what the warning signs are, you know what the signposts are to, this is my line to kill them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the kind of mindset that a lot of people who are going to be at the World Championship are going to be very well versed in. You know, you're going to have people like Travis Tangeman, Tim Keefe, Kevin Broberg, Nick Reagan, just all of these known quantity players. And I think if anyone would be able to do it, it'd be people like them. You know, they could also do similar things with like Amajiki, where you could do damage boost, damage reduction, and just trying to figure out when you need to hold and when you can extend properly. Because Amajiki's another one that you trip up, you're going to get clapped pretty hard because you're a 720. But if you can find those points where you're like, okay, this is where I need to go in, then he can be absolutely a beast.
Speaking of Travis Tangeman and Dark Horse characters, with these changes, is Krista a lot more playable?
Possible. I mean, she does give things stun, doesn't she?
Yeah, she can.
And we were just talking about how good stun is offensively.
She can give stuff.
She also gets Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, she gets Deus Ex
And she can
Machina.
also stack their checks so they get the bad checks.
She can stack the checks. She can use Deus Ex Machina is a blitz, so she can't really stack and draw like she could with Titancliff. But she still has fearsome transformation, horrifying realization. She stacks the opponent's check, meaning they have to overexpend on resources, which Devil Jin and Mikasa don't want to do because they want to be swinging in early. And she gets to stun on top of the natural stun. There is a world where Walk the Dog City Rampage Mikasa gets to do some very silly things.
Yeah.
What do we think of a momentum hungry character, kind of like Allura or what's another one of these life characters that just sucks up momentum? Or like Sasha Blouse with Hadir, constantly looping your rival's cards back on top of their deck defensively, and if you have a way to draw at form speed, drawing your own attacks back offensively.
Sasha Hadir is void attuned, and Sasha is not.
No, Hadir is life.
Hadir is life.
Hadir is life attuned.
What madness is this?
Yes, Hadir is life attuned.
And
it just says I'm going to play all these.
Amajiki,
no, Amajiki has chaos, water, air.
Chaos, water. Whew. Okay.
Nah, but looking through life characters, like you've obviously got the trio that the deck is in: Sung Jin Woo, Allura, characters that Jester 1, characters that just print momentum on face. Yep, Sasha Blouse, Food Fanatic. Annie doesn't absorb momentum. But yeah, there's just a couple of characters that can do this kind of like, I'm going to hunger for momentum and I can just loop your attacks back onto your deck, so you're just going to check bad so you won't kill me on an aggressive turn. And then like I have a life Dolores list that just allows me to loop the same tension attack 12 times until you're dead, using Hadir and just looping that same one tension card with any number of void draw that I have on form speed.
That's the issue.
Something like that could work.
If you run into a void chaos character that's running fearsome transformations, plunders, horrifying realizations, any of the form speed that we now have, you're just basically going, cool, push me to see if I've got another one. I love Hadir, and I think Hadir in the right settings is going to be very powerful, but with how much free draw that is available there, and especially if you say run into these characters that just don't care about it, like Hadir into Devil Jin just seems like a nightmare to me. Because
you wouldn't do that. You can't. You don't just always push the button. You're not Godzilla.
No. But then you've essentially just reduced your hand size by one, going, I need to wait until they've used all their draw. I've got to hold this attack in my hand until they've got rid of all their draw power.
It's also a breaker 2, which is pretty good. It's a breaker 2 block on the high zone. It's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid card, and it has that tech of I can put a card on top of your deck. So Otherwise, it's just kind of like the Krista thing. You put an attack on top of their deck, and then they just form draw. You just answered your own Krista question.
Yeah.
Like Professor Oak says, there's a time and a place for everything.
I like Hidear. I liked Hidear more when equipment heist was legal because it essentially just let you have a solution to just keep them off equipment heist and say have another one. I don't know how viable it is as the center of a combo.
Well, that's why the center of the combo I use it for is an offensive combo, and it just can also help defensively if the time arises.
Mm. Yeah, I don't. I guess so. I don't know if Sasha's the right one to go down the line with. I mean, if you
Well, that's why I said you also got like Allura, who can remove her own actions to get momentum. But you have actions like Fortitude of the Armor Titan, which can give all of your.
Do you know who does have very good draw symbols and also has life? Izuku Midori on the move has 5 symbols that all have some very cool attuned draw cards, and then also has void and life.
Yeah, but I think at that point you're overcomplicating an already good character.
Hey, it's called win more for a reason.
At that point, I think you're winning so much more that you're actually winning less.
Yeah, you've gone over what the number capacity of universes can do, and you've gone into the negatives.
Yeah, it's like Poochie just spinning the world so fast that he's actually going to reset the timeline.
Oh, I think I brought this up in the first one, but Cam wasn't here for it. We've talked about board control, talked about check hacking. The other thing that people aren't really playing around is there a world where big damage throws like Nagayuki just get there?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've actually talked to one of my locals who's a big Godzilla fan about switching to an all throws Godzilla package, using a lot of these 7 diff throws with what is it, massive power or whatever, the Godzilla one that removes to give you damage equal to your difficulty. I'm like, sometimes you just throw a throw for 16 damage as your first attack, and then you Guardian Angel of Chinatown so they can't stop it.
With Unyielding Gun, I think more people are going to be likely to build this Deadlock, and I'm a big fan of Titan's Grasp. It's a low speed, 8 damage attack that goes Deadlock, get +5, in Godzilla, it's another +3, and then you also get, like you said,
plus that Godzilla is another +5.
Yeah, you can do. There's a lot of stuff if you've got chaos on your character. That I think Titan Grasp is such an underplayed card that can hit really hard, especially into characters like Rodan, who need to have the Mikasa defeats the Field Titan down, or they just get wrecked. What do you think, Siren?
Yeah, I think like all throws, and especially that being, what is it, 16 damage at that point?
Yeah.
Something like.
You go Chimera Kraken first to commit down their Mikasa defeats the female Titan and say, get wrecked.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah.
Not Amajiki, where you can give it more damage.
Yep, you could alter
Yeah, the other
unmatched
thing is
power.
that-
That's the foundation I was talking about. Unmatched power. First enhanced remove. This attack gets X damage. X equals its printed difficulty.
Yeah.
Which means it could also give Walk the Dog 8 damage.
I kind of like
So
that.
you
Hold
want
on.
to use for all of those throws that are becoming momentum. You just chuck a Walk the Dog and say, hey, how about you just die now?
Yeah. But no, like, I think throws can. I've never been a big proponent of the all throws only game plan. But I do think people aren't playing enough throws, if that makes sense. Like in Batra coming up, I'm playing like 6 throws because I just say, well, I'll ready my character because my attack dealt damage, and I'll seal your best card.
Yeah.
So +4/+4 now, assuming nothing else hits.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the current way the meta is set up, with this overabundance of my deck's going to do what my deck wants to do and not really care about what your deck's doing, Armor of the Wolf is still legal. Do you think there's a world where we can just get to the point where our opponent is passing every enhance and we just destroy them with this one attack?
You know who does that really well?
Suzuki?
Amajiki. Amajiki,
Amajiki
because
does?
all of his face-up momentum have enhances, and then you can, once per game, flip 3 of them, unflip them, they get their enhances back, and you just keep going and build that Armor of the Wolf and then dump all your momentum into EX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you can set it up with
Yeah.
tension attacks and go, here's a bunch of a momentum I've got for it, and I can also change the zone if I want to catch off guard. We've got a comment in chat for you, Siren, going that they think when it comes to Batterer, that throws might not be the right way to go. The self-clearing package might be better. Like the ones that if they deal damage, they clear, or if there's another card in the card pool, they clear.
Yeah. I think again, I don't think an all throws Batra is ever going to do the thing. I mean, +2/+2 is good, but
Yeah.
playing 6 throws, namely betraying shove, where I think it's if they block it, they commit a foundation, and 2 of another throw on air, and playing just good air cards. I am playing walk the dog. I think 1 of the air self clears. But it's just the guarantee that it readies your stuff is the big thing. I don't think all throws Batra will ever be the move, but 6 throws is fine in my opinion. I don't know.
You know what?
That's nothing to sneeze at.
You know what would go really well into the all throws Batra? Megalomania.
This is true.
I mean, if you're dealing with sealing.
Yeah, you just got cool. I'll seal your character, then I'll also if I deal damage, I get to seal something else. I'll commit and seal something else. I just need to commit and seal one more thing, and then we're popping off.
This is
And
why
they have-
Isla is the best deck.
They
in
have
Godzilla
that one.
format.
They have that one foundation that flips to seal any of their cards. So
Or you play a Secretary of Defense and just go commit, seal a foundation. I may have been talking to a
Absolutely.
channel member about Batra, and I was like, Megalomania is the way to go.
Although we keep talking about Amajiki, that's gonna end up
Oh,
as my deck for Worlds.
I mean,
He's just so cool.
if you don't,
and he doesn't have to worry about Megalomania. He'll almost always have 2 momentum.
yeah. If you don't put any
That's true.
life stuff in there, you can just have a Amajiki deck that can side into Bridget.
This is
He doesn't
true.
have life again.
Yeah.
He only has
No
he has
chaos
chaos.
cards.
That's what's,
Yeah.
If I'm
that's
playing
okay.
no
If
chaos,
you don't,
it's
if you don't,
definitely
if you don't do any
chaos.
chaos stuff, you just focus on the air and water stuff. You can switch between the two, which is a really cool thing to do.
That's true. Hmm.
We're giving Siren ideas here. We're being bad influences on the only.
But I don't
person
get
who
armor
wins
of the
quotes.
wolf on water.
Yeah, Armor of the Wolf is not on water, sadly, but it is on air.
It is on air.
But then I can't rampage.
True.
True. Then you can't rampage
I guess it's Amajiki.
because we're not playing the old school rules.
I guess it's Amajiki
No,
Chaos.
they need to bring it back just for me.
If we Amajiki Chaos, we can do some silly things.
Yep, you can
Oh, yeah,
rampage Armor of the Wolf, Armor of the Ape, and just be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna throw 1 billion damage at you."
Yeah,
I still
Amajiki
get
Chaos
ta-
was my deck before Godzilla.
And you still get Titan's
Yeah.
Grasp, which means you get to pop off with the throws.
Yep, just throw
It's true.
18 damage on a throw.
I put a quick poll up on YouTube to ask if Mark Tyner was a problem, and they said no. That might be the Mark
That's
I
Tyner
also
players.
don't think he's a problem.
I'm not saying he's a problem. I'm just saying you need to be aware of him.
I
Mark,
think he sets a bad precedent.
Mark Tyner's a problem purely because he ends your turn. If he didn't end your turn, he is perfectly fine. The fact he ends your turn is my only issue with Mark Tyner.
I think he sets a bad precedent in bringing those style of effects back compared to keeping the failing it doesn't end the combat phase text on it.
Yeah. Kind of like how MHA1 was built for old standard, and then the rest of the sets we got were built for new standard. So MHA1 was just this overpowered pile of cards, and then when it rotated, the format kind of leveled out.
Yep. Trust me, nothing. The look of disappointment on players' faces when we got Crimson Rampage, and they were like, "Why do all these cards suck?" I'm like, "They don't suck. You're just used to playing how I used to play."
I will die on
Comparatively, Brett.
No.
Comparatively,
Yeah,
Brett.
but I've always said I will kill on a hill, not die on it. I will die on the hill that Crimson Rampage was a good set. It's just people
It
look down
was.
at it.
It was, but people were used to. People got spoiled, and then they had to actually work for a living. They couldn't just suck off mommy and daddy's wallet anymore.
Even compared to
now
set
they had
one,
to work.
Even compared to set one, it was still a good set. You had really interesting characters. You had attacks that were really cool. You had actions that legitimately broke the game with Ready, Set, Go, making building 4 foundations a bad move, which was a really cool aspect. Back Alley Haymaker was an absolute nightmare. Toga 1 dominated the format for a good few months. Crimson Rampage, even with set 1, was a good set that was well designed. It just followed on too closely to like everyone getting access to MHA 1. You guys had it a few months, but we'd had MHA 1 2 months before Crimson Rampage came out. We got everything in one go kind of thing.
And a lot of people here still had that opinion of Crimson Rampage is bad because it's following MHA set 1.
Yeah.
It is a nerd. And then they had to go to where where Jasco wanted to take the game to make it better for newer players and a little bit easier, so it wasn't just a bloodbath every game. And that turned a lot of people off.
That makes a lot of sense.
Unfortunately.
I think we'll start to wrap up, mainly because my internet is dying and Twitch and YouTube are having some real issues keeping up. In regards to this was a very cool experiment. I think personally, we might move UK versus to YouTube only rather than Twitch. But that's something I'll speak with Cam about, because although it's my decision to make, he likes to feel involved in the conversation. But
I'm just here, dude. This is your channel.
Simon,
I don't know why you need to talk to me about it.
Simon, as the only player here that has active plans at this time to go to Worlds, have you found this conversation about the Worlds meta useful?
Yes. Not because everyone has agreed with me, but because everyone has argued with me on points. And that means that we are in a very healthy format, in my opinion.
Ooh.
That's a good way
Which
to
makes
look at
me
it.
feel very comfortable going to play, because in a healthy format, City Rampage is not a fair card.
Something I've been saying for years.
City Rampage, Amajiki winning Worlds. Let's go.
See, if like Equipment Heist, if a card is just an auto include, if you go, I have to play this character on this symbol because it gets City Rampage, that's the sign the card is unhealthy.
But you don't have to. Amajiki has plenty of 4 diffs that you can run that work almost better than City Rampage. City Rampage actually limits what Amajiki's able to do.
But for maximum...
Truth be told, I would not play Rampage Jiki.
Nah, I was just memeing.
Yeah.
It'd be like Armor of the Ape, Armor of the Wolf, Black Abyss, and then 4 diffs.
Ooh.
What about Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta play that one. So, okay, maybe it is Rampage Jiki. I don't know.
I think if you're Chaos, Rampage Jiki is fine. If you're Air, I think that there are more 4 diffs like some of the Momotaro stuff that can actually put the attacks into your card pool from the discard pile, or into your momentum from the discard pile. That works. So if you're Chaos, yeah, you could probably go Rampage. If you're Water, most likely, because you don't get any of the Momotaro stuff. But on Air, I definitely don't think you need to worry about that. Obviously, because you can't. But you just get a lot more tools.
Yeah.
My hot take of the stream: if you're doing Amajiki like with the Chaos, Black Abyss Sabbath is not a bad card. It just doesn't get played. It's a 5-diff that lets you do Godzilla things on the card's face. You spend momentum for +2 to your next check, but you also give your opponent's next check -2. Which, I was like, why are more people not playing this? If you can generate enough momentum, especially with now that we have tension, and especially Amajiki who just loves that, spending a face down momentum, or spending momentum once you've used the ability, and going, my next check's easier, your check to block this gets harder, let's have some fun.
Yeah, you absolutely could.
Yeah.
But going from the conversation, it sounds like you have been on a bit of a journey, Simon, where you're going from, I'm going to play Bridget to, I'm going to play this, I'm going to play, and now you're going, oh, Amajiki's on there. And I think, like you said, that's a great sign that we're in a healthy meta where people are looking at turning the game sideways. They're looking at, okay, if I'm expecting Midori, if I'm expecting Mikasa, if I'm expecting Rodan, what answers already exist there? They're not complaining to the company like, you didn't hit enough, you didn't do enough for me to be able to build a good Worlds deck. They're more going, this is what has been hit, this is what I've got to play with, how can I build the best deck for Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, and probably part of it is I come from Yu-Gi-Oh, which historically never hits the actual problem cards. So I'm like, oh, I've got to deal with this is nothing compared to like El Shaddai Construct living in my format. So, you know what, I'm okay with this.
And as someone who understood all of those words, I feel you. Yu-Gi-Oh is such a toxic game. I still play it sometimes, but it's just, man, it's even worse now. You know, I play online because it's free, and there have been so many times where I'm like, I'm just gonna turn this off because I'm not having fun.
I have not played.
Yeah, I think the last time I played was a long time ago.
I've not played in a very long time, but I only play one deck religiously, and I get so many weird looks for it. But I play it. I swear, I play it because I love the abilities, not because of the actual card art. And it annoys me because it makes me sound like such a degenerate. I play the Berry Magicians, who are the cute magical girls on the cards.
Oh.
And I get so many people like, oh, you just played this cute anime
I tinkered with
girls.
those when they first came out.
And I'm like, no, I play it because I put one Berry Magician down, and you attack, and your attack becomes like a quarter of what its actual damage was, and I fill a board full of Magician girls.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But nowadays it's like, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna play 10 minutes of solitaire and set up like 5 negates and a whole bunch of stuff you can't stop. And it's like, great. Why did I even bother booting this up? And that's why I love our game, because it doesn't really do that.
Yeah, I play this game for the interaction and the ability to have fun with my opponents. It's one of the best things I love about this game. But yeah, I think we'll wrap up here. Big thank you to Blame Siren for jumping on. It's been absolutely great being able to chat to you again. If you've not already seen, Blame Siren dropped a very cool Godzilla reveal, so please do go check out their channel and check out this amazing character reveal with some of the coolest cards that we're going to see in Godzilla. Cam, however, did not get a Godzilla reveal, but has been dropping off some very cool retro content. And if you're looking at building cool and interactive retro decks, as well as what could have been within the game, check out UVS Hermit.
Honestly, I don't think my latest video is any sort of interactive content. I mean, dropping an attack with 50 plus damage that wipes your board and says you can't block this, that's not very fun.
Is it Dragon's Tongue?
It's Dragon's Tongue with Astaroth 2, which you turn your whole board sideways.
It's so awesome.
It's disgusting and I love it, but it's one of those few decks I'll play like that.
And if you want to be kept up to date with the latest news, theories, or more, win, lose, or draw, keep it with UK Versus. And I've got a video out where I talk about the IPs I would like to see I think are coming in 2027, which does include Teletubbies, Care Bears, and Warhammer 40k. I think these are...
Oh, we can't afford Warhammer. We as a game cannot afford Warhammer.
Who knows what we can afford? Big shout out to both of you for being here. Great being on here. We'll have to get some more on there, and it's just great to see more and more content creators popping up. The list of content creators was huge in there. But next week I already have something planned, which is very cool. So Cameron, next week we'll be talking with Combat Power X, and possibly if they're back, we'll have Trading Post back on to get from the perspective of a store owner and us as players on, as a new player, where the best place to start is in getting your cards, whether it's singles, starter decks, challengers, booster boxes, what the best way to start your universe's journey is from a player and from a store owner's perspective.
I can already answer that. Your easiest and best place as a player is to be one of my locals, because I set my locals up. So,
well, for people who are
I need
not
more players.
People who are not in the provinces that Cam attends, I'm sure multiple players will also be doing something similar, and there's the sales Discord where people will help you get hold of stuff. But for now, we're going to head off. It's been great having a chat with you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, I was waiting on you, Simon.